Hello everybody, welcome back to SVR 11 Universe. My name is Jitch, and it's Superstars.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Accompanied by Bourne. Approaching the ring from Ghana, West Africa, weighing 221 pounds, Kofi Kingston.
So Kofi Kingston with his new tag team partner Evan Bourne probably needed the backup, to be honest. It seems like Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston have found themselves in pretty unfortunate situations lately, from Evan Bourne having to fight Kane to Kofi Kingston having to go one-on-one with Mike Knox.
Weighing in at 293 pounds, Mike Knox.
There is actually no confirmation on whether or not Evan Bourne will get a rematch for the United States Championship, considering it was only held for just shy of a month, and he did not successfully defend it once within that month. I think rematch clauses are more due for people that have actually at least had like one successful defense. So we may not actually see that out of Evan Bourne. We might not see a rematch with Kane. I've just now realised that I actually initially at TLC said that the tag titles had to be defended on Raw because the Hart Dynasty haven't defended them since winning them, and they didn't end up defending them. So my mistake, that will come up. You know what? Why don't we make that the main event for tonight's Superstars instead? I know I said in the last episode of Raw that I was going to make the main event a SmackDown match, but I think actually doing the thing that I promised I'd do rather than forgetting about it 2 weeks in a row, because you know I'll just forget about it next week too. I think it's going to make more sense for me to just put the Raw tag titles on the line on Superstars. So the Hart Dynasty will face off against the top-rated tag team on Raw, which I think is Mark Henry and MVP in the next, you know, in the main event of this week's Superstars. We'll be seeing the first World Tag Team title defense since those championships were won. I'm not entirely sure Kofi Kingston stands much of a chance here. He might be a bit of a beast slayer, but Mike Knox is a pretty big beast, and so far Mike Knox's record in the universe is 1-1 is what I meant to say there. He's won the first ever main event of Superstars, a Battle Royal, beating the Nexus, Ricky Steamboat, and Chavo Guerrero. And he's also lost a one-on-one match to Stone Cold Steve Austin on Raw. So he's kind of just moderately made an impact. He hasn't really done anything too massive, but we know that Evan Bourne's been able to beat one giant before. Obviously, Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne, they seem to be outmatched by a lot of who they go up against. We've seen Evan Bourne beat Mark Henry but lose to Kane. And we've seen Kofi Kingston square up and lose to Kane too in a triple threat match, also featuring Christian. But we've not actually seen how well they'll fare against someone like Mike Knox. Admittedly, whilst I do think Mike Knox is a bit of a beast, he's not quite on the same page as someone like Kane, no disrespect, but, you know, until you are as well known and loved as a guy and as feared as a guy as someone like Kane, don't really have too much a reason to be afraid of them. And honestly, I don't know what to even say about Mike Knox. I'll be back in just a moment. And I'm back. Sorry about that. Just received a call. Just had to quickly take it. And yeah, I'm back in the business now. I actually think I'm going to have to redo some of Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston's threads so that they've got matching ones, because I don't think that they match on anything other than the blue kind of. Man, it seems really hard to actually keep Mike Knox down, but then I guess that would make sense. That's part of that beast-like character. I think it was wise to bring Evan Bourne to ringside, to be honest. That's really going to help his chances. I mean, admittedly, he just hit his own partner, but otherwise, I think it's really going to help his odds.
Very likable young man is Kofi Kingston.
darn tootin'.
Young man always has a smile on his face.
Man, it's crazy to think that when this game came out, this was like the very like near start of his career. First game he was in was like 2009, I think, maybe 10.
He used all his weight on that leg drop.
Talking very early into his career. Oh, come on. Man, I'm gonna miss when the camera angles don't go like this. I really hate that that's something they just did away with. I actually like that the camera would rotate the arena rather than always be like the same, like, static angle.
Taunting continues. Kofi.
Isn't that literally his finisher? Oh, right.
When you face Kingston,
Gotta be in the middle of the ring to do the boom boom.
and to regulate that controlled frenzy. Well, you can hope to do that all you want, but I really don't think it's possible. Kingston.
Got him, man. Mike Knox. Obviously just not on Kofi's level.
Kofi's having some fun now. Kingston.
SOS. There you go. Lights out.
1, 2.
Kofi Kingston with a nice big victory over Mike Knox. It's really going to help build up the team of Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston on Raw. Maybe one day they'll be challenging the Hart Dynasty in a rushed tag team title match.
He gets a big victory here tonight. Love him or hate him, that was an incredible match.
That was an incredibly good performance by Kofi Kingston, I'll give you that. I don't know about an incredible match, but Kofi Kingston did incredibly well to defeat Mike Knox with actually no help from Evan Bourne, admittedly. Bourne was there for kind of moral support, but he didn't really help him in the match. So we now move on to a Divas Handicap match. Melina going to make her debut on Superstars with the Divas title around her waist, and she's facing off against two very disappointed Superstars, obviously feeling they were cheated when they didn't get the Divas title because it was just awarded to Melina because no one won the match. So obviously I can respect where this handicap match has come from. We'll see how well Melina does against two of Raw's finest, I guess, next. Well, here comes the controversial first ever Divas champion.
Following handicap match is scheduled for one fall. Approaching the ring from Los Angeles, California, she is the Divas champion, Melina.
I don't know how fair to really say that her being the champion is, considering no one won the championship scramble match. There was no pinfall, no submission, nothing. So Melina was just given the Divas championship as the top ranked. What she was ranked based off of, there's really no saying. But she was the top ranked apparently. And gets the honors of being the first Raw Women's Champion, the Divas Champion. Over nothing, basically. So that is what that is. So I mean, as I said before, I guess there is some logic behind this handicap match. You can see why Natalya and Mickie James would want to face her 2-on-1. It's kind of the girls uniting and saying they want some justice, and obviously no one's standing in Melina's corner, so instead of this being a tag match or whatever, this is just going to be a one-on-two match.
And her opponent from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Natalya.
Now, it won't be the last time that we see Natalya. Obviously, she'll be in the corner of the Hart Dynasty in the next match, the main event, as they defend the World Tag Team Championships against MVP and Mark Henry, a tag team that hasn't exactly had a lot of success as a team, but for some reason, they're just the top tag team. They're not going down in the rankings, despite the fact that they're never winning. You've got teams like the Nexus and I want to say another team name, but I can't think of one. Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston most recently aligning together. Realistically, the top contenders should be the Nexus. They've got quite a lot of victories, but they haven't been able to climb the ranks for some reason. Not really sure how these rankings work. But you got the Nexus, who realistically should be the top contenders for the tag titles, and they're all the way down at like rank, like I guess 5 if you put the two tag divisions together, like you have to. But in terms of the actual separate tag teams, they're the bottom ranked tag team. No matter what they do on Raw, they just don't seem to be going up in the ranks. Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston just got together as a team and they were above them. So pretty rough luck for the Nexus, really. Whilst MVP and Mark Henry have never had a tag team victory, and now they're getting a title shot. I don't know what to tell you, guys. Got this one dude with like the best comments ever, constantly giving like a big rundown on his opinion and his canon and stuff, and honestly it's like the best comment I get every single time. I love it. And I could see him saying something along the lines of, you know, obviously there's some kind of conspiracy going on. He suggested that with Chris Jericho, that there's someone in management that doesn't like him, which is why he's been treated worse than his tag partner, The Miz. And obviously, maybe that's just the case for the Nexus. Maybe just someone just doesn't like them. Maybe someone really likes MVP and Mark Henry and wants them on top. I think that might have been my cue to quickly take another pause here, so be back in a moment. My bad, not yet. Guys, remember to do a few cuts on this episode. I mean, I'd be impressed if Melina could defeat both Mickie James and Natalya, but it's not exactly a very easy challenge when you've literally only just stepped into the ring for the first time on Sunday. But yeah, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with every single person that comes into this universe is just a completely inexperienced newbie. Okay, that's probably pushing it a little too far, but you know what I mean. Like, they've only just kind of stepped up, and she's already making enemies left and right. I mean, admittedly, that comes with being the champion, but to such a harsh extent, and all because she just got handed the title. Seems to wear it with pride though, so obviously not too fast. I'd like to see the same revolt for Beth Phoenix on SmackDown, considering she's known as the Glamazon. She's, you know, the Iron Woman, very strong, muscular lady. I don't think that there's going to be quite the same revolt as Melina, who has literally the same physique as some of them. And okay, that's the end of that one. Mickie James and Natalya, I guess Melina just decided to throw the match because realistically she was outnumbered. That was never going to end in her favor. So there you go, and Natalya now got to pull double duty because she'll be in the corner of the Hart Dynasty up next as they face off against the as they defend the World Tag Team Championships against the challengers MVP and Mark Henry, who could pull off a big upset after many losses in this one. Well, not exactly a superstar, this Mark Henry. If you check the description down below, you can now view our wiki. The reason I mention this is because I am now going to it. I just want to quickly find out what the win-loss record of Mark Henry and MVP is. I don't think it's particularly good. If I'm honest with you, Mark Henry and MVP as a tag team hold a 0-2 record as of when I last updated this. And both Mark Henry and MVP as singles competitors are 0-3. So as a team, they've lost twice, and they've both lost one-on-one matches. I believe I can actually cite which ones those are to you as well. MVP losing a main event match, table match against Jack Swagger on Raw, whilst Mark Henry's singles loss is a one-on-one loss for the United States Championship in the first ever match, losing to Evan Bourne. As a tag team, though, they've lost a tag team steel cage match to the Nexus on the first episode of Raw, and they've lost a handicap match to Sheamus on the second episode of Superstars. This has really really not been fit for them. If there's one thing that I can't stress enough, I hate sounding like such a jerk about it, but one of them needs to kick the other one in the nuts. They really do. It's that simple. They either need to get things in gear, it's either going to awaken something in someone and they're going to get things together as a tag team, or it's going to make them realize they needed to split a long time ago. No introduction needed. The World Tag Team Champions, of course. The Hart Dynasty with Natalya. The full group all together. The Tag Team Champions finally making their first defense since winning the titles all the way back at Survivor Series against Jericho and The Miz, who went on to become SmackDown's Tag Champions, so I guess it worked out for both teams in that match. And of course they get a nice ovation from the crowd, a nice round of applause to thank them for their great work. You know, when I was writing for the wiki, I didn't realise how much taller than the other two David Hart Smith was. But now I see it. They don't exactly show it very well in the games, but he's like 6'5" or something, and Kid's like 5'10". Natalya's pretty standard women's height. I don't actually have a wiki page for her, but based on the fact that she's a little shorter than Tyson Kidd, you know, I'm going to guess like 5'5"-ish. I don't actually know her height. I haven't wrote the wiki page for her yet. There are no women pages yet because TLC hasn't gone up yet.
David Hart Smith into the headlock. Henry's in trouble.
Oh, that was a quick little bit of backup there. But yeah, something needs to change. Even if they just start cheating and they just start becoming a team of Zack Ryders, something about the team of Mark Henry and MVP really needs to change, or else they can just kiss this team goodbye, in my opinion. This is it. This is do or die for them. It's a tag team championship opportunity. If they can't win this one, something they've not even earned, then they really don't deserve to be in the rankings. They should have split a long time ago. It's that simple. I hate to sound so blunt, so harsh, and so down on them as a team, but it's obviously just not working. But maybe they'll turn it around in this one. I'll give them credit where due. See how this one plays out. Realistically, the world's strongest man should not be getting dominated by someone who is just over 200 pounds. But obviously something's just not quite right with Mark Henry and MVP, yeah. Obviously something like those two as a team has just really taken the wind out of both of their sails from the moment they've debuted. I respect that they wanted to team up, but I just don't think it's been working out for them. And the fact that there are so many teams on Raw that are obviously going to start getting frustrated at the fact that these are the top contenders. I mean, admittedly, they're not actually the top contenders, but they're right up there, and they really shouldn't be. The actual top contenders, the ones that are just the one team that's ahead of them, is the combination of DX. And Shawn Michaels and Triple H right now are not focusing on tag team work, so they won't be getting a tag team title opportunity. They need to at least compete as a team before they start going for the World Tag Team Championship, and right now they're not even doing that. Triple H and Shawn Michaels couldn't be further apart from teaming. They actually fought each other on Raw. That tag team hasn't even gotten started yet, and it may not get started. That's the thing. Speaking of may not get started, we may never even see MVP get tagged into this match. I wouldn't be surprised if MVP walks out on Mark Henry or vice versa. Honestly, it would not surprise me. That's how little faith I have in this tag team right now. Mark Henry could be competing for the world title, but he's holding himself back in this tag team with MVP. MVP, he could be a good cruiserweight champ. No, he's not. He's too light. He could be a good Intercontinental or United States title type.
And he finally gets out of the ring.
But he's not.
Tyson Kidd, the self-proclaimed.
And Tyson Kidd, with probably the most incredible feat of strength I've ever seen from him. They don't. Oh, they do have a tag finisher. I was going to say that would have been very strange. A very interesting little tag combo there from the Hart Dynasty. Looking to get the win on Mark Henry nice and quick, but MVP does at least have his back right now. That's good. If I were Mark Henry, I would be focusing on getting the hell out of the ring right now. We had this problem in the Sheamus match where they lost the handicap. It was Mark Henry, I believe it was. He wouldn't tag out. wouldn't share the spotlight with MVP. It was more about trying to beat Sheamus on his own whilst MVP stood in the corner, and it ended up with Sheamus pinning him. So honestly, when the championship is on the line, when you're getting your second opportunity at gold, you should probably have learnt from your first one. Admittedly, that was a singles match against Evan Bourne, but he should have learnt that he needs to focus. He needs to change something about his ways. Starting to fight back, that's good.
Oh, incredible counter. You hear how his leg connected? David Hart Smith, part of the Hart Dynasty.
Obviously, he's just stuck in that corner, cutting the ring in half, as they say. It's a classic tag team strategy, and obviously it's classic for a reason.
And there's an overhand right, David Hart. Oh my, tremendous move by Smith.
I think once again, it looks like it's going to be a big letdown for the team of MVP and Mark Henry.
Did you hear the impact on that kick? This is a grueling championship match. Nobody wants to lose this up. David Hart.
David Hart.
Oh my, tremendous move by
There's the
Smith.
suplex. Here's the cover. I think this is lights out for Henry.
Just bounced off the floor there.
Once again, another loss in which MVP isn't even tagged into the match. It's hard to say who the weak link is. Is it Mark Henry and his ego, or is it MVP and his inability to do anything? Either way.
David Hart Smith, Tyson Kidd, and Natalya.
An extremely simple title defense for the Hart Dynasty to start things off, or to start things off for their tag title run is what I was going to say, but then I realised it's the end of Superstars and I kind of said that a bit wrong. But yeah, big way to get these guys another victory. Admittedly, these guys getting a very easy victory, basically 2-on-1 against Mark Henry. I honestly think it's wise if Mark Henry and MVP go their separate ways now. I'm hoping to see a notice saying that that's what they want to do, because they should be granted that. They should go their separate ways. They really, really should. That was very hard for them. When you're handed a tag title opportunity and you can't even slightly capitalize, that's when you know you're screwed. I think the thing is that team has just made Mark Henry too soft. Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne are now allies. You mean they weren't before? David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd's friendship has gotten even stronger. Oh, it's the friendship episode. And look at that. MVP and Mark Henry still right up there despite a loss. That's the problem. Someone somewhere really wants them to succeed as a team, so they are just not going down in the tag ranks. David Hart Smith has now gone up in the ranks whilst R-Truth has dropped. I guess that makes sense. And Evan Bourne, Kane, and Kofi Kingston have all elevated in the ranks because MVP has taken a plummet with that, fourth loss now? I'm surprised him and Mark Henry are even in the top 10 at this point. But there you go. And also in the Divas division, no change despite Natalya and Mickie James winning because they are the top contenders. So of course they couldn't really go any higher. The most they could have done is swapped places, with Mickie James being the one that beat Melina. I couldn't remember her name for a minute there. So, in a preview for this upcoming SmackDown, we have Vance Archer and Yoshitatsu in a one-on-one rematch. Yes, please. Layla, Tiny Steiny, and Nikki Bella completing in a triple threat match. The Rock going one-on-one with Cody Rhodes, and not that as the main event, because it's time to put that one to rest. No more. Fuck off. But The Rock will finally be making his debut, that's good. And from the women's division, we'll be seeing the two bottom-ranked women, Layla and Nikki Bella, as we did on Raw with Alicia Fox and Brie Bella, but we'll also be seeing Tiny Shiny thrown into the mix, so that's cool. So, I'll see you guys on the next episode of SmackDown. I'm going to quickly go and apply a tag team name to Big Show and Lex Luger, even though they're not on this show. but they still need their name being applied, so I'll be sure to do that. And that's probably going to change some of the matches, just a warning in advance. So yep, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.